Some of you are human, some of you are less than human. Where do they fit into the vampire takeover? And how evil do these guys get as we get deeper into the story?
Monsters is, a matter of perspective. He gets pretty brutal. I think he's Gabriel Bolivar in some senses, living out, his destiny. He's looking forward to it. That's just my opinion.
And Palmer?
Oh, he's just a businessman. He is an unmitigated villain. There's not one single redeeming feature to his character. But he's pleasantly single-minded. And he's going to get there.
Well, let me say something from my vampire's point of view. First of all, I don't think vampires are mean. They have the purpose of life. Look, let's take it this way. Humans have taken over the world for more than 2,000 years, and look what they made out of it. So it's now vampire time. I wait and see what we do to the world.
We definitely are stealing that. It's vampire time, I think. Now.
And Jack, we just saw possibly the world's weirdest money shot. What did you think when you read that scene?
Well, I definitely couldn't draw it on experience. That's my imagination for sure.
You called up and said, "How are we doing this?"
I couldn't wait to do it. I've never seen anything like it before, so I just wanted to see what.
Okay, what were you wearing?
Nothing.
You were wearing something that kind of kept the Franken beans.
That's just you.
I remember ballet panties.
And Ben? Where's Ben? Ben, are you old enough to watch this show?
Probably not.
Okay.
The only reason I'm watching it is because I'm on it, and even when I'm watching it, I get so scared because it's literally. I'm used to scary things. I watch scary shows, but like this is definitely the scariest thing I've ever seen, and I get so scared by it. But I try to watch it because I want to see how I do.
And is everyone on their best behavior when you're on set?
They try to be.
Okay, who's the worst at it?
We curse a lot.
Everyone's really nice to me. There's no one that's really the worst.
Think carefully.
Everyone's always the best.
Don't snitch.
Everyone's super nice. No one's mean to me. Everyone's like treats me like I'm part of the team, and that's why I really like working on this.
And no one curses.
No one curses.
Nobody, no.
And Natalie, your character actually seems to realize that F is a good guy. A bad husband, but a good guy. As the outbreak grows and things just start to fall apart, is she going to realize that he's actually heroic?
I like to say that Kelly has good intentions, but her timing might be a little bit off. I'm looking for a sense of safety and stability on the brink of a vampire apocalypse, and divorcing the one man who could save us all might not be the soundest decision, but it's what she feels is best.
And the dissolution of this marriage really provides a very interesting emotional center because it kind of puts F in that position of, I have to save the world, but I also want to save my marriage. Going forward, do we find that these two can actually work together?
Oh, spoiler.
What's that?
Yeah, that's total spoiler.
You'll have to stay tuned. It can definitely continue to progress or unravel. It's a matter of perspective.
But things do get worse for this marriage, I'm assuming.
Well, it depends on what you mean by worse.
All right, so for the producers, what kind of look did you guys want for this show?
Well, we wanted to establish a very vivid, saturated color palette and give it a very cinematic look. I think we all wanted to have certain uniformity, so you know we wanted a uniformity of style. But we have so many directors who tried to give it uniformity on the cinematography, the effects, the VFX, the way we edit, design the sound. It goes through a filter that gives it a very cinematic look, hopefully an a big sculpt look.
And the sets themselves are massive. And some of them are actually like, I mean, it smells like you're in a subway station below ground. It's kind of disgusting. But for the actors, how much fun is that to get to like run around fake New York?
It's really dirty. We spent a lot of time in some incredibly dank tunnels beneath Toronto.
Yeah, the real subway.
Yeah. With some really creepy. Remember that time there were like some vampire graffiti deep in the tunnel.
Oh, when we
and we went to the production designer. I was like, wow, you set up all this crazy creepy graffiti.
We haven't done that. Toronto's packing secrets.
Yeah.
And I apologize for the smell. That was me that did it.
That's okay. We get it.
But we actually are working within safety rules and all that, but you have a tunnel down a few hundred meters away, the subway's going down. So they are live tunnels very close to it.
And you've also reconstructed tunnels on the sound stages that are just like filled with dirt and this grime, and it's really unsettling. And Boulevard's got this incredible apartment set.
Well, I want to give I want to give a shout out to our producer Miles Dale, who's an amazing part of our creative team. And one of the things that he's done is, as movies and other TV shows have gone down and they have like tunnel sets. I won't mention the specific projects, but we basically have gone and bought all these tunnels and caverns and grottos from all these other movies, and we basically have brought them over, expropriated them, and then rebuilt them on one of our stages. So we have been the beneficiary of a lot of incredible work done on, and misfortune of other projects, failures, all that stuff, and not overconstrained.
We are like scavengers. We're like the ambulance chasers of production. Oh, this show is not doing that well. Let's see what it says.
Oh, sorry you're canceled. You want to sell your set? You want to sell
The vampire breed that we're dealing with in this, where did the white worm idea come from?
No, I really, I've been thinking about it so long, and I thought that one of the most unsettling things, my wife is a veterinarian. I think she's basing her thesis on me. And she one of the things she was doing her thesis on was a thing called the Filaria imitis, which is the heartworm that dogs get. And when I was helping her transcribe her thesis, and I kept thinking how freaky it was that those worms live in your flesh. And then I was reading somewhere that we are all hosts to at least 80 to 100 parasites right now. And that's pretty creepy. And I thought from the beginning, the worms are one of the creepiest elements, and they would live in the veins. They would move through the circulatory system, depositing the virus. And I thought that could be, if it creeps me out, I put it in. I know somebody else will be creeped out.
Then, with that, I mean, the effect is incredible, but you guys have chosen to do also a lot of practical effects rather than CGI or visual effects. Why go that route?
You know, I think that you try to come up with the best solution to make a scene engaging, and we prep this thing much more like a movie than a television show, and I think that's why the effects are as cool as they are, and they're a combination of actors, prosthetics, in some cases puppetry, and then visual effects, and each particular gag or action scene we do, we figure out what the best version of it is and what combination of those elements it needs, and I think it's more what you would do in a movie than you would normally do on a TV show.
And Richard, you're really our first peek at what these vampires actually look like. What was that process going through the makeup stuff like?
Oh, that's actually one of the most important parts for me, because my challenge was, how can I be something which actually does not exist? But when I entered the boat, I saw that Guillermo and Carlton, they have worked on creating this whole world for over a year. There was a lot of prep time. And so I came in, and I just to give you a glance of what I went through, besides the fact that makeup is kind for me 3.5 hours. For Jonathan, it's even a little bit more. The big impact that had on me, the teeth. Well, you imagine when you play a vampire, then you get fangs. Okay, put up the fangs. Fangs, you know. Then when I saw the teeth, actually, it was a piece of art. You saw those teeth in your hand, and immediately you started to imagine whose teeth, what animal is this? It's actually very, very believable, very, very truthful. And the whole thing with the vampires, which is so strong for me in the series, is it's all based on biological facts. It's all inspired by nature. And sometimes just a little bit pushed forward and anticipated, but still, even if it's invented and it does not really exist under this form in nature, it could. So this makes it easy to find an entrance in it, you know.
Nature's creepy as hell, man.
Oh my god, it's so good. It's so, and you talk about a shout out that your creature shop is, they did an incredible job. What you guys will see later on in the season is ridiculous. Like, it is, when you guys, not to spoil anything, but when you guys first got a look at what I'll see later, I mean, what was your reaction?
I was blown away. I mean, to have this physical vampire in front of you, looking, you know, without any CGI added, it looks real. I've never seen a vampire before, but now I do. And you know, just I mean, to the smallest details, it's remarkable.
And also so much easier for us just to perform and be in the moment. It's not that we're fighting against a green screen, venting vampire in front of us. We have them, so that's pretty amazing.
The show is very, very scary and very graphic. Has there been any pushback as far as like, no, you just can't do that?
No, I mean, FX has been, I mean, the best possible partners we could have ever asked for. You know, there's certain things you can't do on basic cable. You can't drop F-bombs, you can't have nudity, but in terms of the content, I think we've made the show that we wanted to make. I mean, this is our creative vision, and they've been nothing but supportive of that.
And expanding the book universe a little bit, you guys were able to go into your original story and kind of add and tweak some things, correct?
We were very, very aware, and Carlton knows that we are very open to him as the showrunner can say, can we expand this, can we add this, and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, I think that by necessity, you know, the first book is 400 pages, the first 150 pages were the pilot, so that left us, 250 pages, that's the math. That's why I'm not a mathematician. To turn into 12 hours of television, which necessitated a lot of creation. And, you know, I think we feel like we made a story that's, you know, in making the story for television, you try to make the best version for that medium. And we took the stuff that we liked the best in the books, and Chuck and Guillermo have been, you know, incredibly open, supportive, suggestive, in every way, you know, supported this idea that the two mediums are independent, and you have to do what's best for the TV show. And so we've used the best stuff from the books and invented a bunch of other stuff.
I think the first day in the writing room, Guillermo we were talking, and he said, you know, there's one thing that we didn't do in the book that I really want to do with the set piece in such and such a place. And that became a thing, and it's one of the best episodes, you know, downstream of the season. We were able to get that in, so that's been fun too, to you know, broaden the sort of the universe of the stories and to get to some things that we weren't able to get to before.
And it's been great having Chuck in the writer's room because, you know, we can always say, sort of, what was the origin of that idea? You know, where did this come from? You know, and kind of talk through some of the process that went into thinking about how elements of the book were created.
So going down the line of your actors, can you just, because casting these characters is it's key. Can you tell us exactly what these actors brought to the role that told you, like, this is the perfect one?
I mean, we had a lot of time to work on this. And so, for instance, Corey, we had, both seen Midnight in Paris, and fortunately House of Cards came out as we were in the middle of the casting process, and we were like, I don't think we're going to do any better than if we could get Corey to do this part. And we met with him, and fortunately he was, eager and interested, and, it was just, the character had to be a smart, intuitive, complicated guy, and, Corey just embodied everything that we wanted in the character.
And Carlton and I went out casting together. We were always together in the room, reacting to the actors. Corey walked in, basically, we offered him the part in the room.
Yeah.
First meeting, we went, you want to do it? It's not that normal, I suppose. We said, come on, let's go. Mia and I had known each other for a while, and I knew that she would give us the intelligence and at the same time, sort of the extra sensibility. I thought that as a Latin woman, or me as a Latin man, we are very, very aware of possibilities other than the normal ones. We are very attuned to an otherness, and I thought she would be great to be a counterpart to the by the numbers sort of scientific thinking of F.
Yeah, and David Bradley, as I said before, we were looking for a guy who could be a badass, and there's just kind of a limited number of actors in their 70s who can be badasses. Can't be much of anything. Of course, and our amazing casting director, April Webster, basically said, you guys really should consider David Bradley. He's one of the great British actors of all time. He has an amazing background. He was in the Royal Shakespeare Company. The Harry Potter movies, Game of Thrones. I mean, just...
Come on, he had to do it.
He was really, again, just kind of completely epitomized what we wanted in that part. So that was fantastic.
And I think David also has probably the most indomitable spirit of all the cast. When all the other guys go to sleep, he goes to dance salsa. And in his spare time, he skis. So, he has much more activity than any of us. Then Sean, we were talking about Jim Kent, and we were riffing, Carlton and I, and then Sean's name came up, and we thought that's the greatest idea, because ultimately, Sean is one of the most trustworthy, really, really adorable characters, and we thought he has been, if anything, he's Rudy, right? He's a goodie. And we thought it would be funny to have the most famous sidekick of all times be a betrayer. Like him saying, "What ring, Mr. Frodo? I didn't know you had a ring."
I worked with Kevin on Lost, and he played a really bad guy on Lost, but in getting to know Kevin, he was just this wonderful, charming, smart, engaging guy, and I just felt like there was so much more to him than we were able to do in that part, and so I brought him in to meet with Guillermo, and we kind of instantly together saw that he would be the perfect guy to play Fett.
Then Richard Sammel, we actually thought we were not going to be able to get him.
Yeah.
We said it would be great to get Richard, but he's a German actor. To travel here is a big sacrifice to come and do the series. We got on the phone, and we had a long session where he wanted to know more about the character. Now, Eichhorst is already an amalgam of characters from the book. Is a character like him. He exists in the book in a different way. And all his questions were super intelligent, and basically he understood a key thing, which is from his point of view, his character should be right. He should want to do this for the best because he thinks it's time for a superior race to be in charge. And the intelligence he showed, I thought would be great to have a great active villain. The master has to be sort of kept in the shadows, kept in the dark, but very powerful. And then he needs somebody that is as powerful to be his agent in the real world.
Yeah. And Jonathan Hyde, I mean, again, we you know, when you're